Welcome to the Croc Podcast.
Merry Christmas.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Here is your host, Dr. E.
Howdy, Croc Nation. Dr. Tommy and Ellie here with you with another Croc Podcast. Along with me, my friend and co-host and dear friend and spiritual warrior, Angel Santana. Have faith, let it begin. Angel, it's that time of the year.
It is. And just like all the angels that are coming down from heaven, so is Santa Claus. It's Christmas time.
Do you feel it? I do feel it this year.
I feel it. And also to our Jewish people, happy. Look at that. My son heard Santa Claus and he just came into the room. Happy holidays also, and happy soon to be Hanukkah for everybody out there.
Hanukkah, Kwanza, whatever the holiday is that fits, we wish you the best here on the Croc Podcast, a non-denominational, non-discriminatory podcast platform. So, Angel, it's that time. We have 2 podcasts left for the end of the year. And I thought, I'm really getting into the spirit of Christmas this year. And I thought, how do you want to end the year? So I thought to myself, we're going to end the year by riding this wave of holiday bliss and joy to talk about family, but not the kind of family you're thinking of, as well as talking about miracles, sort of a spinoff of a Miracle on 34th Street. So tonight will be part 1, and in 2 weeks will be part 2. And I hope that you guys enjoy it. And I hope you guys participate and listen to both episodes. So Angel, on Wednesday night, we're at your favorite restaurant, Oak and Reed, and we're there to honor our dear nurse, Marie, who after 31 years of nursing is going to retire. And earlier that day, I just wrote a few words down to say something to honor her. And while I was writing it down, I thought it kind of all came together for me, because we're sitting in that front room at Oak and Reed, and there's about 35 people, all coworkers who've been together for, some of us for 31 years, some of us for less, some of us for only a year or less, but we were a family. And I thought, instead of talking about the family that we don't get to pick, that is our blood relatives, or instead of talking about our dear friends that we consider brothers, like I consider you a brother, I thought I would talk about the power of our work family. And I wanted to not only talk about the power of our work family, the importance of a work family, especially in the healthcare system globally, and also specifically in the healthcare world where we take care of survivor thrivers. What do you think about that?
I think it's amazing too, and kudos and thoughts and prayers to her next journey. I mean, putting in together that many years in the health field is just tremendous. So that this is going to be a great show. I'm ready.
Excellent. So we're going to break this up. I believe I have it broken up into 7 parts, and we're going to talk about different aspects of our work family. So first, we're going to talk about our work family as it relates to the time that we share together. So across the globe, I was going to say in America, but it's everywhere. There's a fight that goes on every night in pretty much every household. So does this sound familiar? We don't spend any time together anymore. You're here, but you're not here. You're drained and exhausted. All of your energy goes to work. None of your energy goes to home. And all we get here at home is a zombie and shell of a person. Is that something that might be familiar that you may have heard before?
Absolutely, Tivoli.
So we try to deny it, Angel. We try to deflect it. We try to argue against it. But let's look at the numbers. So I did the math today. In a week, there's 168 hours in a week. Of those 168 hours, I'm going to just ballpark and say that we all try to sleep about 7 hours a night. So that's 49 hours we're going to take away. And let's just start with a 40-hour work week, right? So that leaves us with 79 disposable hours. Now, 79 disposable hours, is about 33% is related to your time is concentrated on work, and 66% of your time is concentrated on your personal life. Not so bad, right? But let's look at the real numbers. So if you look at the real numbers, you take your 168 hours, you subtract 49 hours for your sleep, you subtract 40 hours for your work week, you add 20 hours because you're still working an extra 20 hours, and then you add zombie time. So you add an extra 25 hours of time that you're home, but you're not really capable of being a whole person. And guess what that number comes down to? That brings that number down from 79 disposable self home hours to 34 hours. So
Wow.
really, we only have 34 hours. We have less than our work week that we spend in the home or in our own lives. The rest we spend with who? With our work family. So part two, the work we share, specifically the work we share with our cancer survivor thrivers. So I'm going to quote something that I said, that when I spoke to Marie this week at her dinner, I talked about these bonds of friendship and these bonds of family. People say that the bonds of friendship are strongest when forged under the infinite heat of adversity and challenge. Certainly, the struggle to heal and comfort a cancer survivor qualifies as a conduit to develop not just a friendship, but a kinship. So I believe that all of us in the healthcare systems, we develop not just friendships with our coworkers, but almost as if we're related. We have a kinship because of that fire, the forged bond in that heat, in that extreme heat of the pressure and the stress and the desire to help these worthy and amazing patients really brings us together unbelievably. And the other thing is that not all of our cases are straightforward. Not all of our cases are joyful. Many of our cases are actually tragic. And what we see is another thing that brings us close together, not just as coworkers and not just as coworkers who are friends, but coworkers that are friends and family members, is that we take care of people that have the most complex medical issues, the most complex social issues, the most complex psychiatric issues, the patients that may not be the most lovable or the most relatable, the patients who don't listen, the patients that don't comply, the patients that are hostile rather than sweet, the patients that lack insight and wherewithal, the patients who are most marginalized, most neglected, and most in need of a community. So we're not just talking about easy patients that take no, physical energy, spiritual energy, psychic energy, psychological energy. We're talking about the toughest, roughest types of cases, and these are our cancer patients. And when you have a situation, just say a pot of stew, a beautiful pot of Puerto Rican stew that your mother Lucy is making for the family. Some what is the word? Sancocho,
Oh,
sancocho,
sancocho.
sancocho. So we have this bubbling, brewing, boiling brew of sancocho on that emotional stove. And this is what's bringing us together, not the easy cases, but the difficult cases, the challenging cases. We call these people, and it's so nice during the holidays to be able to use this expression. It's a Christian expression, but can be, of course, used throughout the world. What we do to the least of our brothers is what we do onto you. These are the least of our brothers and sisters, these tough cases, these marginalized patients, these patients who have nothing. and it brings us together. And you have to understand, we also share the journey with our survivor thrivers. So all of us are riding on this survivorship bus. That is, we are driving all of the survivors, and we're driving them through their diagnosis when they first get hit in the jaw and rabbit punched with their diagnosis. And then we get them through their toxic treatments. And then we have to uplift them and keep them believing and hopeful when they're getting their surveillance and their testing and their blood work and their x-rays. And then we have to get them through all of the side effects, not just of their cancer, but sometimes the side effects of their treatment. Part three is that the people that we share brings us close together. So, Angel, I'm going to use you as a perfect example. You are part of our hospital system. You're not in oncology, but you would be what I would call a direct liaison to me. You're a direct family member. You're my brother. You're like a brother, right? So who are our direct relationships in oncology? So the oncology service line, of course, the radiation oncology team, the medical oncology team, the surgical oncology team, the nurses that care for the oncology patients, the inpatient floor 2 North that takes care of our oncology patients, the outpatient infusion center, which takes care of our outpatient needs and our infusion needs, all of the ancillary players like Pal, our nutritionist, and all the people in rehab that do our lymphedema therapy and our speech and swallowing. I put Angel here on the switchboard. Also our friends in IT that help us keep our computers running so we could take care of our patients. Even the people that clean the department, like our friend Dax, is a direct family member. The facilities people that are so amazing, Ricky and Joe and Billy and Jonesy and all those people that keep our campus looking beautiful and keep us safe. Our officers and our security guards that patrol the oncology areas. These are our direct family members. Then we have some marginal family members, sort of like cousins. So we have our administrators, our facility crew that may be servicing other parts of the cancer area, of the hospital, not so much the cancer center, and other services, other non-oncology caregivers. And then, of course, we have our distant relatives, the ones that we don't see very often. These are people you may have never met, people that you never interacted with, but you might know their face. You might walk by them in the cafeteria. They might be the volunteers and whatnot. And then we go to part 4, Angel, of what brings us together as a family with our coworkers. And that's, you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your family, and you can't pick your coworkers.
Mhm.
So how many times have you told your kids or your spouse or people, your friends, or as I said, your family members, that you love them, but right now you don't particularly like them? There will be times, many times, when you might feel hurt, or you might feel betrayed. You might feel angry. You might feel rageful at a coworker, who is, as we determined, a family member. They may have talked about you behind your back. They may have posted something rude on social media. They may have insulted you directly or without even knowing it, indirectly insulting you. They may have slimed you. They may have called out and left you to do an extra shift. They may have left work undone that you had to clean up for them. They might have different opinions or ideals that are contrary to yours. But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you this. It just doesn't matter. Be the bigger person. Look at the bigger picture. Your work on behalf of our survivor thrivers requires peace and tranquility and teamwork. And I'm going to tell you, Angel, when I wrote this particular, ideal part 4, about, sometimes our coworkers / family members are not perfect. I'm talking about myself first. I can't count how many times over the 30 something years I've been in this medical system that I've been reactive to others or angry at others. I'm talking about dozens and dozens of times in my career. I've regretted being reactive every time. Even if I was right, I was wrong. So please, 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 for the family, do not hold grudges against your coworker / family. Part 5 is a legacy. this particularly deals with Marie and retirement. But what I asked of Marie is, what is it that you want to be remembered for? And then I figured out what Marie will be remembered for. And these are the people that you have the power to help you achieve what it is that you want to leave behind. Because you want to know the truth, Angel, you
Mm.
absolutely cannot do it alone.
No.
So I'm going to go through what I wrote to Marie. A legacy is something, it's not just a word. I don't view it as a noun that just stagnates and dies when somebody leaves. I view it as a verb, a living, breathing ideal that lasts in the reverie of those who remain. So Marie's legacy was exactly that, a living, breathing gift. I'm gonna give you my example of what Marie achieved. So her living, breathing gift was a gift of hope that she gave to her patients, a gift of positivity. Marie was always the most positive person in the room, and the gift of kindness. She was always very kind to her patients. And her greatest gift was her acts of advocacy. She stood up for people that could not stand up for themselves. She was also very generous and she gave of herself. If a patient was hungry, she would bring in their favorite food. If a patient had nothing, she would bring them a gift that they needed or a piece of clothing. She, but the most important thing that Marie brought to her patients, her legacy will be all of the prayers and blessings that she shared with those that were paralyzed by fear or those who had lost faith. So God bless you, Marie. That is your legacy. So what is your legacy? What is it that you want? What do you want people to associate with your body of work? Do you want to be known as being inspirational or just being a blah? You know what I mean by that, Angel? Do you want to be known as being a positive person or a negative person? Do you want to be known as industrious and hardworking or as in lazy and just not caring? Do you want to have your reputation being known as being a person with very high moral character, or do you want to be known as somebody who was shady or who cut corners or who was not trustworthy? Because you want to be trustworthy, you don't want to be remembered as not being reliable, and you want to be known as professional. You don't want to be an amateur. You want to come in every day and be a pro. And believe it or not, you don't have to wear a suit or a white coat or speak with words that people don't understand to be considered professional. Professional, we've done many podcasts on this, trying to break down the actual foundation of what professional is. So we know what that is. You want to be enthusiastic. You don't want to be a complainer. You don't want to be complacent. And you always want to be curious and devoted to learning and keeping up with your craft, not just mailing in your work and just showing up and thinking that's enough. And you want to be, at the end of the day, Angel, a respected colleague, not just a coworker. So in essence, do you want to be known as someone always striving to be better? That's what you want your legacy to be. And then just part 6 is very simple, just putting it all together. No matter how much you want to try to describe it, no matter how much you want to try to deny it, how much you want to, argue with it, the people you work with are your family. You can choose to fight it or you can choose to embrace it. I'm in a perfect perch right now, Angel. Unlike Marie, I am not ready to even consider retirement, but with multiple decades under my belt and from where I sit in my perch, I can tell you this. Every single person I have worked with from my internship to now have taught me and have touched me. Some of the names are fading, but I can see each one of their faces like it was yesterday. People that are no longer with us at work, or people that are no longer with us even on this earth. People that I have loved and people that I have battled. And to each and every one, I want to say thank you. Thank you for making me who I am today, who I will be tomorrow, and who I will be forever. And I want to dedicate this episode to our nurse, Marie. Angel, your thoughts?
I think, when you hit it best when we said, you know what, do you want your legacy to be? And I think that for most of us, it's a very hard question to answer. But I think deep down inside, we know it, and we're all going to have different answers. I think when it all comes down to it is, can we work together? Can we work together as coworkers? Can we work together as family? Can we communicate with one another? Can we allow all the things that have negativity be put aside so that we can put forth great and amazing work so that together we can be a cohesive unit. And I think today's lesson is a great understanding of what the world can be and how much better it can be if we put things aside and allow ourselves the opportunity to grow and learn from one another, but more importantly, to respect one another.
And I think being part of our particular medical system, you're in a position to understand my words, especially. I mean, you feel a brotherhood to Nick and others. You feel like you're part of a family, and it's not always perfect. As a matter of fact, many times it's very imperfect. But I'm sure you would agree that you appreciate every single person you work with.
Absolutely, the good and the bad.
Exactly. So in conclusion today, everybody, I'm so excited about these two podcasts. And next time, in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about the miracle on East Main Street. That's going to be specifically for our survivor thrivers who are facing, looking down the barrel of a pretty powerful shotgun or bazooka, and how you can come out of that, not just alive, but alive and doing great. So looking forward to that. So I just want to conclude today with, again, a devotion and dedication, of course, to Marie, who's our nurse, our oncology nurse retiring, but really to every single coworker that I have, even that I work with today and that I've worked with in the past, thousands and thousands and thousands of you. Sometimes I've never said a word to you. Sometimes I've cried, in your shoulder. Sometimes you've cried on my shoulder. Sometimes we've laughed. Sometimes we've yelled. Sometimes we didn't talk to each other for a few years. But no matter what, I want to thank you and tell you that you are my family, and you're a very important part of my family, because at the end of the day, without you guys, I would not be able to do what I do. And what I do is to try to help and serve the most amazing group of people on the face of the earth, and that's our survivor thrivers. So in conclusion, as we end each podcast, it is with our Croc VIP podcast blessing, by wishing each and every one of you a long, healthy, happy, and cancer-free life. God bless you. God be with you. Peace.
Hey, Croc Nation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast to your friends. Visit our website, crocvip.com. We would love to hear your feedback.